try and do all of them. Do you plan to ever expand your business to other motorsports? 2024 driving plans. Are you ever coming back to Formula Drift? Happy New Year, everyone. It is 2024. This year is going to be better than all the rest. How do I know that? I don't. Basically, with the mindset of saying that, it's gonna be. So it is what you make it. Anyways, I'm doing a questionnaire based on all of the responses on my Instagram story. I have a lot. I'm gonna try and do all of them, and I'm just gonna read them off my phone. These are gonna be questions more than likely related to business, related to car setup, suspension, how I started FDF, things like that. Some really interesting questions, actually. Let's just get right into it. Let's start with the first one from Rad Arrow on Instagram. Any plans on doing road racing suspension instead of drift setups? Short answer, yes. Long answer, long-ish answer. We are already in the process of doing that, and we have released products for S2000, for Corvette, and for some other chassis, GTRs and stuff, that is specifically for road racing. So yes, we are going to be expanding. We now have 3 engineers on staff, so with that, we're handling up some backlog, and then we're going to be pushing forward for a lot more R&D and road racing, drag, all sorts of different types, GT, even the nice cars like Porsches and stuff. We're going to make products for all of that. That was too long of an answer. I got to make that faster. Again, another question from Rad Arrow. How did you get into learning suspension kinematics? I went to school for manufacturing engineering, and suspension kinematics was purely based off of passion, and I did a lot of my own research. So trial and error, experience, racing myself, feeling it, that's how. Eric Welch 360 asked, when building a motor plate setup for drifting, would you tether the block with no mid plate? I don't personally run a mid plate. I can see why you may want to, but for drifting, I don't feel it's necessary, and I've run it like this for 5 years now. The biggest benefit to a mid plate in drifting would be that it would just add more chassis rigidity, especially on unibody cars where the center section's quite weak. On a Corvette, it's pretty rigid right where that mid plate would go. So yeah, it could be done, but it would really complicate engine swaps and stuff. So I haven't done it. Marcus Green _07. What was your mindset starting up FDF, and what's the end goal for you? Okay, so starting up FDF was based off of passion, and hobby turned into a passion. Essentially, it was just a weekend job, and the products that I was making, everyone wanted, and I started turning it into a business, and you know, that's basically how it started. It really wasn't a plan at all, but now we're a pretty large company with 17 employees, and it's going. The end goal is to continue to push the boundaries of myself personally and the company and everybody around me. Next question, Sorry, it's really small print. 0 Hour Drift. What would you recommend an aspiring engineer do to get started in the drifting industry? The best form of engineering is simply solving problems, and in order to solve a problem, you have to have one. So basically, try and fix a bunch of stuff and design products and parts to do that on your own car, on your own thing, on stuff around your house, whatever. Just start somewhere. Shane Pats. There's letters and numbers after. Shane Pats, have you ever ran the Zaknova 300 treadwear tires? And if so, what are your thoughts on them? Unfortunately, I haven't. In Canada, we only have the 200 and the 240 treadwear. I would imagine, I have looked at them, touched them, all that stuff. They're gonna be pretty similar, just slightly more grip out of the 240 treadwear, which is what I primarily ran last year. John Dom Cron. What do you think of the company HGK? Well, it's pretty cool. I have their kit on my Corvette. It's very durable, and it's a high-end product, and it fits well, so I think it's cool. Other than that, I don't really know a ton about them. Mike Dzia, will you be at any local grassroots drift events in Ontario this year? Yes, of course. I'll be running 6 events this year. FDF Drift Weekends, they're gonna be 2-day events. We are considering improving them with some entertainment, with some more things to do, and on the second days we may implement some interesting things like little challenges and small comps has not been confirmed or even discussed, just ideas. But those events are confirmed. So yes, I will be driving quite a bit. Next question, Devin_AB. Do you plan to ever expand your business to other motorsports? Yeah, I mean, we can basically make anything, and we kind of already are dabbling into that, especially with off-road ATV, UTV stuff. We have a lot of misalignment spacers, rod ends, and products that we sell on our website that a lot of those guys are starting to notice and buy. So yes, there is no ceiling with this business. That is the beauty of it. The more machines I get and the more skilled employees and team members that I have, the more we can do. And yeah, there's really no ceiling on this business. Dark Carts 18. What's the best way to manage life, work, and projects, or how do you manage it? Good question. I'm not the most organized person, and I typically manage things not the greatest, to be honest. I just do a lot of things all the time. So progression over perfection is a cool saying that I don't think I've heard anywhere. I just came up with that, I guess. But progression over perfection, I would say don't worry about trying to make it perfect, just continue moving forward. So I'm always doing something and I'm always challenging myself and managing it. Sometimes I don't do it well, but most of the time it works out just fine. Os_Nasser, 2024 driving plans, ? Big ones. Big driving plans. That's all I can say. Dang Ailbert 85. Hobbies outside of drifting and engineering. Those hobbies would include hanging out with my kids, hanging out with friends and family, and exercising and working on myself and my house and my other projects. That's pretty much it. Nothing crazy. My life does largely revolve around this business and growing this business. So other than that, I don't do a whole lot. And it's great because when I travel and I go on vacation or business trips, it's all the same to me. And I thoroughly enjoy what I do. So I don't need to do a whole lot else. True Focus Fab. These are some cool guys. I met them a couple times. When is FDF moving to the USA? Great question, and I know what he's referring to when he asks me that. Obviously, lots of people already buy our products in the USA, but when are we going to become a USA established business? I would say between the next 2 to 4 years, I would say. We're gonna have some sort of physical location in the US, making sales, manufacturing, and distribution easier for us to do in the US. 3gun_Phil. Other than tire pressure, how to increase grip? That's a really long question, but other than tire pressure, you're gonna want to maximize the tread wear and the mechanical grip and size of the tire. You wanna increase your coefficient of friction before you worry about manipulating the suspension geometry. So tire pressure and compound are going to be the two #1 ways to increase grip. That will make up for probably 80 to 90% of all grip obtainable from the chassis is just the tires, physical size, compound, and pressure. Beyond that, there's a lot of discussion to maximize that last 10%. Too long for this questionnaire. 3gun_Phil again. Best way to learn how to adjust your FDF suspension for more or less grip. We're gonna be making a grip series. This has been a long anticipated and pretty complicated thought out process because we wanna make a display that will show trailing suspension, double A-arm suspension, and multi-link suspension. And a jig that can display that physically is going to be quite complicated. And yeah, to make that really easy is gonna be tough. Same guy again, how high can you rev a stock LS2? Probably shouldn't give you an answer just so that no one does what I say, but I'll tell you what I've revved mine to when I had one. I capped it at around 77,000. I wouldn't go over 68 to 7,000. Just the valve train will float and the springs are not heavy enough and stuff like that. This is a good question. Klebson_Montiero. Why hasn't the C7 Corvette been widely used in drifting, whether at an amateur or professional level? The main problem with the C7 Corvette is it's an aluminum chassis. The second main problem is it's an electric steering rack that's in a really terrible position. So those two things combined give you a very difficult to build car because you can't weld things to it easily. Some things that people don't know about aluminum is that yes, you can weld to it, no problem, but the welded area and the material itself, unless it's annealed, aluminum welding is only 40% of the strength of the material it's bonded to. So whenever you look at welds on boats, you'll always see that the mitered angles are like always on an angle. So a tube is gonna intersect another tube kind of like this. They never do it like this. Why? Because you have doubled the surface area of welding, because aluminum welds are very weak unless annealed. This is why planes are riveted and not welded. So to weld things to a Corvette aluminum chassis, it's just gonna be very weak and very difficult. You need to be a skilled TIG welder. That in and of itself is probably the main reason. Also, they're expensive, and also they are not old enough yet, but I do feel that when they become old enough and inexpensive, they won't be used that often because of those reasons. Was that only page 1? No, that was page 2. Page 3. We're on page 3. Push to pedal media. Are you ever coming back to Formula Drift? In my lifetime, that's a possibility. Not this year. Jacob Miller, are you guys planning on going back and updating more kits to have smooth adjusters? Short answer, yes. We are currently doing that. It's a great design that has enabled us to improve a lot of the new kits and also go back and improve the old kits, so yes. CNC Machining Julia, how are you? I'm doing great. Martin Gouda, of all the roads in all the world, what's the one place you'd love to go for a drive? Probably Nürburgring, is that how you say that? Nürburgring? Nuremberg?
What?
Nürburgring.
N-U-R-B-U-R-G ring. Nürburgring. Yeah.
Nürburgring.
Nürburgring.
Nürburgring. What gearbox do you have? How strong is the stock TR6060? I have a GSR. It's a G-Force GSR 4-speed top shift. And how strong are the stock TR6060s? I've seen a lot of people run a lot of power through a TR6060, so I would say they're good up to 750 horsepower without needing any kind of upgrades done to them. When was the first FDF piece made? The first one would have been made in 2015. Probably was either a wing bracket or it was a rad support repair kit for S13s because they all rusted out here. That would have been right around 2015. MK3 Super Kit, question mark. Not anytime soon. Next question, It Squalls. That's the name of the guy's account. For an angle kit, what effect does offsetting the center line of the wheel versus ball joint position do? This is purely scrub radius. We did an entire series on this almost 3 years ago now. Early 2021, so 3 years ago, we did a suspension kinematics series. The difference between these is pretty large. So it affects your scrub radius, and your scrub radius affects pretty much everything. So I would recommend go to our channel, look up, I think it's probably episode 2 or 3, and check it out, scrub radius. Here's a good question. Valera.agd asks, how do you feel FDF has differentiated itself from the other competitors in the market? Well, probably the biggest thing that sets us apart is we make absolutely everything in-house and designed in-house, and we drive on our products. And me as the owner competes with the products that we designed and does well. I don't think there's really any company out there that does that. And then we also have a lot of fun doing it. We have experts in every field, marketing and social media managing and content, welding and machining and CNC operating. We take pride in everything, and it's just a lot different. We're a really tightly knit team, family operated business, and started genuinely from pure passion. So that is where a lot of companies may have started because they saw a profitable market. This company was not started for profits. It was purely passion. These are all the same. I think that's all of them, dude. Okay, guys, that is the end of those questions. There were a few that we missed just because we don't have the time or the question was a little strange. So thank you guys for watching this video. We're looking at ways to structure our channel in a sense that you will know exactly what content to expect. So starting on Tuesday next week, we are going to be doing a Tip Tuesday. Tip Tuesday is going to include basically tips on everything. Anything that I've done or anything that we're doing, we're going to give you recommendations and suggestions on how to do it properly, tips and tricks. Tuesdays, that's what's gonna happen. So at least one video per week at a minimum is gonna be on our channel, 52 videos a year just on tips. It's a new year, 2024, and we are going to be focusing on this. So keep watching for stuff like that. You guys are gonna learn even more as we've started to establish ourselves as an educational channel. You are going to be able to take in a lot of good information and also entertainment. We're gonna be doing some cool stuff. So keep watching. The next Corvette build that we do, basically I'm picking that up at the end of January. That Corvette, this will set another new tone for what the future holds, and you guys will probably not be able to guess what it is, but I'm gonna ask you to guess what it is. What we're doing with the drivetrain and the new Corvette is going to be setting a new tone in the drifting community and in the racing community. It is going to be huge. So guess what that might be, and eventually you will find out. That's a wrap for this video. Let us know what you think of the video, if it was too boring or whatever. That's it, I'm done. See you guys in the next video.